Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. Hey, everyone. Good morning. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We're going to be taking a look at some different coins today. We're going to be looking at Meteor as well as DeFi Tuna and a few other things. So welcome in. Thanks for being here. We'll go ahead and get started taking a look at some of these that we have. We were looking at AI CMP earlier, but we're going to try to find some runners. We also have some pools that we are setting up on DeFi Tuna. If you haven't checked, DeFi Tuna did increase their supply today. After posting about it, the supply limits on DeFi Tuna were maxed out, meaning the utilization was really, really high, which means the borrow rates are really high, which means you can't earn as much money, or you can earn as much, but you're paying more debt. And so you can see here the supply limits are not reached yet. You can go add more SOL. We have SOL and USDC in here, but you can go add some more. And then we're also going to create a SOL USDC pool using this as well. So we'll do 100 there. We'll do some USDC there. 3.5 on the leverage. We're going to do slightly more on the USDC side, so long. And we're going to take a look at the current price of Solana, where it's at and where we think it might go. It does look like it might pick up a little bit here. It's definitely in a slight upward trend, so that's a good sign. We don't know exactly where it's going to go, but we're going to lean a little bit towards it going more up than it down. So we're actually just going to leave. We're going to go to 198 here. And so we're 4% up. We're going to do 2.5% down, slightly more on the USDC lending side, just like this. And then I can go to limit orders and I can set the take profit and stop loss at my range ends here. So that way I won't ever get liquidated. So even though I'm at a 3.5x leverage, my pool will close out before I would ever get liquidated. And so it protects me from that. And I'm going to create position and create it like this. And so it's awesome on DeFi Tuna. I've been earning around 2.5 to 3% per day when the utilization rates aren't crazy high. And so that allows us to be able to earn really, really well. And now that the supply limits increased and the utilization rates are down, the borrow rates are down, we had closed out of a pool, but we're going to reopen it back up. And this is a fairly tight range. It's one that I want to watch throughout the day. If you're not able to watch it as often, then you might just want to create a range that's a little bit wider than what I just did. Welcome in, everybody. Sup, brother? Hope you're enjoying the new year. Thanks, Opt, K Ruby, Gorarv from YouTube. Thank y'all for being here. Saucy Randall, Happy New Year. When you go to DeFi Tuna, can you break it down again? How did you decide if you wanted to borrow SOL or USDC? I hope Tuna DeFi will give us an estimated APY with our open positions. So the reason why it's hard to do an estimated APY is because the borrow rate constantly changes and it's based on your leverage, right? And so they can't just give a base APY. You can see here they have this little like 0.04, 0.05, and these are showing like generally how well they could do. And so I don't know like what this is based off of, if this is like for a certain time period, but I do know that like the higher this number, the higher the yield. So that gives you like a little bit of an idea. But the way that I choose SOL USDC is that SOL USDC is going to do a little better than SOL USDT. But also whenever I look at the current borrow APY and the current supply limits and utilization rates, I can see if I were to use USDT, right now there's 132K borrowed out of 177K. And so there's only 40K left in USDT. And you can see here, like when I create the pool, that I'm borrowing 55,000 of SOL and USDC. And so I would probably, if I borrowed USDT, I'd probably send the rate up really, really high. Whereas with USDC, you can see there's still 150K plus there's more supply to put into it. And so that's why I went with USDC. It earns slightly more than USDT. And based on the current borrow and utilization rates, I think it'll make the most sense. And then same thing with Solana here. Solana is the pair for most of these, not all of them. You could do like USDC and JLP, which could also do really well. But Sol is like obviously the main one that you pair a lot of this with. And so, but that's why I chose this. Sometimes I swap to Sol USDT if USDC ends up becoming too much. You do have to know though that there is a fee for entering into the pools. Let me pull that up and show y'all. Platform info fees. So the platform fees, they're striving to grow the TVL. They've decided to not charge anything from lenders. And so DeFi Tuna charges users who open liquidity provisions. So currently there's a 0.05% on a single charge per position. And then for stablecoin farming, the fee is set at 0.01, which is if you do USDC and USDT. And so it's collateral plus borrowed funds times the 0.05%. In the future, they'll be making modifications to our fee structure, so keep an active eye out. Liquidation, 5% fee is charged on any liquidation events. And so they do charge a 0.05%. So if I opened this with 22,000, 0.05%, that's 0.5. Oh, nope, too many. 3 zeros, Daniel. Boom. So this is 0.05 times 22,091 is how much I deposited here. So I'd pay an $11 fee. So I would need to make sure that I earned $11 or more before I close this out and created a new pool. Is there any risk to just doing the lending part? The only risk is the security of the site. So do your own research on that. And then the other risk would be like, I mean, you have Solana, so the price of Solana can go up and down, but obviously you can just withdraw it here. So in that regard, there's not any risk. It would just be based on the security of the platform. Obviously, if you earn 30 or 26% APY, that's really, really good just by itself. You just provide it and that's it. The thing is that the supply limit you can see here on Solana was already reached. And so they'll be raising this more and more over time. But I think that, over time as well as it increases and people use this more, the borrow rates will kind of level out. And so they may stay this high, they may go down a little bit, but either way, you'll just want to watch that. But yeah, right now, as far as lending goes, there's no risk as far as like getting liquidated or anything like that. That's just on the trading side. And you can see I offset my trading with lending here, which will help reduce the utilization rate, which I've done in the past. So, and then you can see if you click on your pool, it'll actually show you where you're at. And so the price of Solana is right around 191. So I did like a 2% down and like a 4% up here. I'm expecting Solana to go slightly more up than it does down. So we'll just have to see. I don't know that it's going to do that. It's just kind of me guessing a little bit. Obviously, if it does change and drops too low, then I could always close it out, or it'll close it out for me when it reaches the end of my range. Do you know the devs, or do we know if they have been audited? Yeah, there's a third-party audit. I need to get it. I had messaged. Let me see. Let me ask them about that again. I'm going to ask in the Discord about the third party, because I know a few people have asked about it. Oh, somebody made a good point in Discord that the fee is actually the 0.05% fee is actually over the full collateral. So you'd end up being at $38 for me. So I need to earn at least $38 on this to be able to be in profit, right? And so obviously opening and closing a lot would not be good. And so just something to look out for whenever y'all are doing y'all's trading and lending there. Cool. So I'm gonna leave that up. We have some SOL that we'll be using as well to try to find some good runners. I have about 47 SOL that I've left to try to catch some good stuff. And so The way that I do that is I come over to Good Morning, Good Night and look at it here. Sometimes I'll be in Discord. If you're not in my Discord, you can find it in our profile. And we, yeah, you can join the Discord and check us out. But sometimes I'll check in here to see, because we'll have people that are posting in Discovery in different places talking about different coins. And so you can always join and find stuff here. Let's see. I also want to talk a little bit about the Soul Decoders bot, which I've been using. Can talk a little bit more about that, some ideas and strategies that I have behind it and how well it's doing, and kind of go from there. I'll talk about that some as well. Let's see here. All right, so there's this AR16Z coin, which is doing really well in volume. The only problem is that they don't have a Twitter that I know of. And when I click on the website, it takes me to their pump fund, which looks like they like bonded like very quickly, which means it looks like they've put all the money into it. So this doesn't look the best. I could be wrong about it, but just be careful with this one. It's one that I'm not going to get into, even though it's doing crazy volume right now. I just don't trust it. Graphane has been doing amazing. Let's look at Graphane here. Oh, wow. It's pumping heavy right now. Yeah, Graphane's one that I've been in recently, and it's done really, really well. But I haven't consistently stayed in it. I've just taken my profits here and there. It's in a pretty high uptrend right now, which usually whenever they go up like this, I like to try to set up a one-sided bid ask, knowing that they'll come back down and collect fees that way. But I'm not sure if Graphane's the best one to do that with, because it has so much liquidity provided for it. It may be difficult to earn enough fees to offset the value of it going down. We'll come back to it. It's definitely one that I'm interested in there. We like to basically just look at a lot of the coins on the 5-minute chart that have high volume. And then what I'll do is I'll click on them. And then if they look suspicious or weird, like this one does, then I'll go look at Twitter, see if they have activity or not. What it looks like on here, whether they're getting any action, not really. So yeah, this is one that I would not trust or go into. So we'll get out of that one. Supai, I had seen this one, or at least this ticker the other day. No, that's not it. That's a different one. So you have to filter through a lot of junk to get to the good stuff. There's tons of coins that'll have a lot of volume on the 5-minute chart. This one looks weird as well. If the charts just don't look organic, they look very just like uniform looking, then usually they're not great like this. And you can go to the Twitter and see like there's very little like Twitter activity. And so even if it was a real coin, it's probably not the best to get into because the Twitter and stuff like that isn't very active, showing there's not a lot of action on it. NER is one that I've been really interested in. This is one that I've seen a lot of people talking about and has done really, really well. It looks like it's down a decent amount right now. Let's see what's going on Twitter. And so this is me just going through the process of how I'd find a coin, right? A lot of times people will post them and talk about them in chats and stuff as well, which is very helpful because then it like kind of cuts out some of this. But a lot of the times you just have to manually go through and find it, right? There's 3 coins with the same ticker AR16Z today, so be careful. Yeah, it's definitely one that looks suspicious. Jupe Soul might be the most profitable. I'm not sure YNR. I think to make it more profitable, you have to have it tighter, so I'm not too sure. Dre, thanks for that information. Yeah, good stuff all around. So yeah, so we're looking at NER here. Let's see what they most recently talked about. Who are we to argue with? Both good. NER 3x cheaper, market better features. Let's see. Yeah, they haven't posted anything crazy today. They posted this from the AIX BT agent responding to about NER. The volume on it's not amazing. The 5-minute volume's below 200K and the 1 hour is below 1 mil. So it's not my favorite. But you can see here it is ranging really, really well. It has dropped a little bit It's at this support line here. It's one that I'll watch. I'm not going to get into it right now, but it's definitely one that I want to look at and keep watching. So we'll leave that one along with Graphane, which I think Graphane one-sided is probably pretty good right here. Maybe while I'm looking at other coins, I'll just go ahead and set this up. We'll do the 80 bin 0.8%. The 20 bin is just going to be too tight in my opinion. So we're going to use the 80 bin here. Those are close enough together in price. And basically what we're going to do here is we're just going to come add like this. Actually, we're going to do a hybrid strategy. So what we'll do is we'll do, we're going to bring this down to 30%, 35%, and we're on the 80 bin step 0.8% pool. So we're going to do a spot. We're going to add the liquidity. You have to be careful when these are really separate. These are close enough that I'm not too worried about it. And so we're setting up a one-sided sold pool, expecting Graphane to come down. Now, eventually we'll want it to come back up or at least earn enough fees to offset the value of it coming down. But what we do here is we're going to set up a spot strategy with 15 SOL. We're going to do 30. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a bid ask with the other 15. And so what we do is we create somewhat of a hybrid strategy here. So that way, as it's going down, we'll collect more fees the further down it goes. Less here, but that's okay because we do expect it to dip a decent amount here, which you can see it's doing. Now, at some point, this may end up just like only coming down to here and then like coming back up and moving out of range, which is fine because we'll have all of our SOL back and we'll have collected fees along the way. So this is our hybrid one that we'll have for now while we continue to look at some other coins. NER does look to be trying to pull back here. Let's see what else we got. Is DeFi Tuna audited yet? Yeah, I know they have a third-party audit. I asked them about it, and he said that they're going to next week. They have some very assuring things that they'll be posting about. So next week, I assume early next week, we'll have some more information about that. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so we're watching Graphane. You can see here, I've been using the MACD indicator. This is something that I wanted to talk about a little bit. The MACD indicator basically shows you that when the trends shift and change. And so you can see here that it had a line cross over here, stayed pretty steady. But as soon as these lines started to break out, separate from each other, you can see that the price picked up. And so this right here was showing the trend change, right? And then you can see they crossed again here and they started to widen. And this is showing the trend change down. You can also look at the color of the bars as well as the height of the bars, right? And so when you're watching this, you can see that it picked up here, dark green, larger bars all the way up. And then the bars got lighter and the size of them got smaller, showing back into a downward trend. As these get closer to what they call the zero line, this middle line right here, you can see that that's where the lines crossed here and it starts to break out red again, showing a new trend. And so this is really good to determine when trends shift. Me seeing this helps me understand that this isn't just like a temporary little drawback, because you can see there's times where there are temporary drawbacks and the lines don't actually cross. Like here, you can see they get close together, but they don't necessarily cross, and then they'll keep going down. And so the wider the lines are apart, the more it's going to trend in that direction, which you can see right now they're fairly wide, which is showing that trend direction downward, which you can see another candle opening up here showing it downward. And then as this starts to slow, at some point it will, then we'll see the lines close in together again, and then we'll see the shift back up. Whenever that happens, when we're in a pool like this, we can either close the pool out and set up a two-sided pool at that point, or we can, I'm not sure why this isn't moving, or we can set up a one-sided pool back the other direction to be able to earn fees on the way out as it moves back up as well. Or you can just leave it open, and as it comes back up, you'll just earn fees along the way. I guess the price, maybe I entered into it like slightly too late, and so it hasn't really moved as much as I thought it would. We did the 80 bin step, and we tightened it up a little bit as well. So as it dips back down, we'll see how it goes. Graphane is a longer term hold. If something else pops up that I like better, then I will swap over. Porteria, thank you for all the content you're providing with very good information, truly educating. I'm close to be able to do Web3 full time. Hey, that's amazing. I've been looking at MACD for both the 1 minute and 5 minute candles, sometimes even 15 minute, and it's been paying off. Sometimes the 1 minute MACD looks like it's closing, but the 15 minute might show still going up in general. Yeah, it's good to see that. Sometimes looking at the 5 minute candle can be even better, right? To determine that. Like if we go to the 5 minute here, it looks like the candle is still not closed yet, right? Or the MACD indicator lines have not crossed yet. So you could look at that if you're looking at a larger scale, which honestly on a token like Graphane, I probably should be doing that. If you're looking to just trying to make some money in the short term, then you could use the 1 minute to determine whether it's going to go down in the short term or not. But it could go up in the long term, right? So it's like, yeah, we may gain a little bit of fees here, but then it'll break back up. And so you could use the 5 minute indicator to determine that. Normally when I'm looking at coins that are a little bit newer and a little more volatile, I'll just use the 1 minute. But definitely can see how the 5 minute could be useful as well. AUK's one that's come back up, which is really, really nice. Let's look at what AUK's doing right now. It's got good volume. AUK's one that I've really been big on for a long time. When the price of it dropped below 95 million, there were some support lines I had ended up selling. And then obviously it went way below that, all the way down to like 30 million. But now it's back up. So good to see that because I really like the team and the tech that they have. It looks like it's in a good position right now. Actually has some lines crossing to potentially come back up. Let's look at the 5 minute on this. Yeah, it still shows it going down on the 5 minute. But AUK's one that I'm interested in also. How do you usually decide how many bins to set? So the bin steps are really just based on the range. So like every 100 bin steps is 1% movement. So that means that for each of these bins, for it to move one, it would have to move 1%. So in this instance, it's 0.8%. And so these bins will move between each other as it goes up or down 0.8%. And so the bin steps I determined based on, or the number of bins determined on how far down I want it to go. And so with Graphane, I put it at 35%. If Graphane went down 35%, it's at 411 million right now. 35% would put it at 267 million. That's if it went straight down, but because it's on a curve, it actually ends up not being that much. So that was probably too much, honestly. But that would bring it down to like this right here, which is its last like big major support. There's two here that are at 287 and 268. So I probably could have tightened it up a little bit more than I did to be able to earn more fees and to be able to just more accurately catch what the chart is representing. Let me see here. Yeah, because there's a reason like I'm not earning a ton right now. It's because it's taking a while to move based on the percentages and everything that I have. Let's go to the 5 minute chart. Yeah, the MACD is showing that it looks like it's about to come to an end. Let's go ahead and readjust this actually because we're not earning anything off of it right now. Honestly, haven't messed a ton with some high market cap stuff in a while. I've been doing a lot of like DeFi Tuna passive farming and then been doing a lot of like smaller stuff. ARK is one that I've been doing a lot of, which I really like. Oh yeah, let's look at ARK. I think ARK was just down in volume, which is why I wasn't in it earlier. Let's see here. I'm a little tired. Oh, that's definitely not the right one. My son woke me up early this morning. Yeah, it's down right now. We're on the 5 minute chart. Yeah, it looks like it might be slowing on the MACD side, but it's definitely still down a decent amount there. The volume on it's a little bit lower today as well, so not anything super great. The volume on Graphane isn't super high either, honestly. The 5 minute volume is actually really low, even though the 1 hour. So we're actually not going to get into Graphane again. As much as I like it and I think it'll do well in the long term, I was expecting it to dip a little bit more than this after hitting a new high. But it's really just not moving very much at all. And so because of that, I think I'm going to move to something else that's going to have a little bit more volume. NUR is okay. Again, not great on volume. We want to try to find something that's going to be moving pretty heavily. ARC is doing decent, but not enough for me to jump into it. Let me sell the tiny amount of graphene that I think we had gotten. I have my good morning, good night set up with my DLMM wallet integrated into it. And this is really nice because I can buy and sell. Instead of buying on Jupiter, I can buy and sell directly on good morning, good night, which is basically like having a trade bot. It can do it super fast and instant, which whenever I trade on Jupiter, it's usually much slower. And so because of that, it's able to be like really, really fast, which is nice when getting in and out of different positions. All right, let's go back to pools here. We sold on graphene. All right, let's see here. If we can catch anything. Let me check out my Discord as well. If y'all have any tokens y'all see running or anything y'all want me to look at, please let me know. Yeah, AR16Z has come down a lot. It's still doing high volume, but overall not anything super great. Let's see how AI, was it CMP? AI CMP, yeah. This is one we were looking at earlier that was doing pretty well. Volume on it isn't great either. Okay. So we just got to try to catch a runner today. You know, usually what I do is I have a lot of my funds in some longer term holds in place. And so sometimes that'll be Graphane or ARC or Fartcoin or one of those. And then what I do is I have like my passive returns, which I was doing on Meteor. I'm testing out DeFi Tuna right now. I might move between the two depending on what the lending rates and stuff look like. But you can see here, like I've already earned $9.50. I set this up earlier in the stream. So literally like maybe 15 minutes ago. And I have 68 cents in debt, which you can see here, which will come out of this. I also had to pay a fee to create this position. So you don't want to go so tight on it, which I did go a little too tight on this, I think. We'll see. But you don't want to go too tight because if the price of SOL drops here from 190 down to 186, I'm going to have to close out my pool or it'll automatically close if it reaches this here. And so if I don't make $33, which is about how much I had to pay to create this pool. Now I'm putting in a lot of money, obviously. So that's part of it. But if I don't make that $33 and it has to close out, then I'm losing money. Now I'm pretty sure it's not going to drop all the way to 186. I think I'll make enough yield before it would do that, even if it slowly dribbles down a little bit. But that is something to keep in mind. Obviously, you're paying an initial amount. So the longer you hold it open, the less that initial amount affects, your overall gains on that pool. Whereas if you're having to open and close often, it would affect you a lot. And so I did kind of suggest or assume that SOL would be going to the higher side. But based on the charts and stuff, it looks like SOL might dip back down again. And so right now we'll just ride out this DeFi pool DeFi Tuna pool as long as we can, because I don't want to close it now. But as it gets close to here, I might close it out as long as I have enough yield to offset so I'm not losing money, if that makes sense. You'll have to measure that based on how much you're putting in as well. All right, let's see here. Kekius. Yeah, I was looking at Kekius earlier. Let's see. I saw it on here. Yeah, there it is. Because this is, let me go to their Twitter. Is this the OG one? Came all the way down to 3.5 mil, and now it's worked its way back up. I just don't think this Kekius coin is going to be good long term. Maybe in the short term. Jackson, I did set a stop loss. Yeah. Yeah, you can see the utilization, the borrow APYs are much better on all this now that the supply limit was increased, which pretty much all of this, the supply limit has been reached. There's a little bit left of USDC if someone wanted to go put some in there, and a little bit left in USDT as well. ETH also, I'm surprised, doesn't have more. I kind of wanted to test out an ETH pool a little bit to see how well it did. It looks like it has only about 10,000. So I guess I could put like a small amount in here just to like see how well it would do on the Sol ETH pool. We're going to put 7 Sol in. We're going to do 3.5% there. We're going to leave this into this side a little bit like this. No, we'll just leave it in the center, I think. And then I'm going to leave it fairly tight here as well. Yeah, we're going to go slightly to the edge here and slightly down there. And then we'll set the limit orders, which I just put them at the range bounds, just like that. That looks good. Okay. There wasn't a lot of ETH in there to be able to borrow it earlier. Now there is. And so I want to test and see how well it does. I'm just using a small amount for me here to be able to see what that looks like. Hugo, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. Hey, we have over 400 people watching us. Thank y'all so much for being here. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday of every single week, sometimes on Fridays as well. We go through all things DeFi, DLMM, everything on Solana. We look at different strategies, different ways to earn money. My goal for 2025 is to make as much money as I've ever made, more money than I've ever made, and to also help people be able to grow and make as much money as they've ever made. I also want to be as generous as I could possibly be. To me, there's no point in making lots of money if you can't be able to help others around you. And so that's my goals. That's what I want to do. I also want to try to get monetized on Twitter. To do that, I'm going to have to increase the amount of engagement. I'm getting a ton. Right now, even though I'm getting a decent amount, it's very high standards for X, and so that's also a goal of mine. So I'll continue. The way that I want to do that isn't just to try to like artificially create that. To me, the best way to try to grow is organically with really, really good information, which is why I'll be providing lots of different content and different things on my X as well. How do you show the buying and selling transaction points of your wallet on Good Morning, Good Night? How do you show them? I don't show them that I know of. I just, when I buy over here and I sell, it just pops up. So I'm not sure if you can remove or add that, like where that's at. Oh, look, right here, hide trades, show trades. This is probably it right here. This little button. ARK is picking up volume. That's good. We'll go look at ARK again. I really like ARK. Oh yeah, Jackson, you had mentioned the stop loss thing. You can see here I do have the LL and the UL. This is the lower limit and upper limit. It's essentially a stop loss and a take profit. And so I do have those set. That's on my Sol USDC and my Sol ETH pool, both of those. Yeah. ARK, that's where I was going. Yeah, you can see ARK popped up into the 5-minute volume, so that's good. Well, it picked up volume because there's a giant green candle here, but I'm not sure that that's going to be consistent. So we'll watch it and see where it goes from there. Kekius is doing okay. It's down so much, and I'm just not confident this is great long term. So I'm probably not going to get into this. The 1 hour MACD looks good. It's testing a support. That was a previous resistance. Yeah, I'll keep watching it. It's fairly low right now from where it picked up before. All right, let's see. Looks like Fartcoin's picking up as well. I don't know what this snowball thing is. I think I looked at it earlier and it wasn't anything. Swarms is one I was looking at earlier. Let's see what else. Butthole Coin was doing well. Let's see if it's doing good. So Fartcoin is down right now. Look, if you set up like a pool that just ranges between 1.2 billion and like 800,000 on Fartcoin, you would just be absolutely printing. I mean, just look at this. 1.295. I guess you could set it up a little bit higher if you wanted to. There are times where it's broken above into like 1.29 or 1.3-ish. So if you did it from like 1.3 all the way down to like, 800, pretty much from here forward, which this is the 24th of December. So this has been a week. It's stayed between 800 million, or sorry, 800 million and 1.2, 1.3-ish billion. And it's doing really well. It's kind of near the middle of that range right now, so might not be a bad spot to get in. This is just a good, consistent overall pool. You could also even set it on like Hawkfire somewhere else to auto compound for you as well. Why didn't you join the AR16Z pool? Seems suspicious. Volume's really high. Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't do it. It looks very suspicious. There's also multiple AR16 pools that popped up. Snay is in range for quite a... Yeah, I was in Snay earlier. That's another good one that I've been in that I really like. My son's knocking on my door. You can see I bought and sold here, but it's also been in range. It's come up a lot, which is good. But I mean, staying in range and then moving up slightly and then staying in range and moving up slightly, that's a really good sign. I do like Snay. I like what they're doing. So this is another good one. Kind of a good mid cap play, 80 million market cap. Could go higher. But yeah, it's staying pretty constant with pretty good volume. It's doing over 100K on the 5 minutes. So it's actually doing a decent amount right now. And the 1 hour volume just under 1 million, which isn't bad. I mean, I like it to be closer to 1 million, but that's not too bad. Yeah, first stream for 2025. Let's get it. I don't know why I didn't title it like something like that. I'm just so used to titling it like the same thing or around the same thing over and over again. But yeah. And you can see our DeFi Tuna pools, which I've talked about a lot, doing really, really well. Once I swap back to the page, it takes a second to update, but you can see here, based on the borrow rates on Sol USDC, I've borrowed 89 cents worth, but I've earned $14.68. The way that I look at this debt to yield ratio is that as long as my debt is 10% or less, hold on one second. My son's just knocking on my door. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. My son was literally just sitting there like knocking on the door. Normally my kids are at daycare while my wife goes to work, and I work from home, obviously, because I do this full time. And but with the holidays, they're home. They're not at daycare right now. And so because of that, they're knocking, and he's wanting to come into my office and stuff like that. So I'll probably not run my stream as long as I normally do, because I'm gonna go spend some time with them. But I like to stay consistent as possible. So Saucy Rando, I think you already answered this, but I'm hungover and slow. Is there a way to roughly estimate the debt? You can roughly estimate it. You can look at the lending percentages currently. So let's say like this one's 33, this is 35, 33, 33, like all kind of in that range, right? And so if you just say, okay, it's 33% APY, or is it APY or APY? I mean, I'm going to do it as APR, not APY. But if I did like 35%, oh my gosh. And then this would be what it is for a year because it's APY. And then you do that on the debt right here. So like 55,178. If you held it for a whole year, you'd pay 19 grand in debt. But we're obviously dividing this over a whole year. So like per day, you would look at $52. No, that's not right. So the hard part about this is that APY is assuming compounding, where APR is a flat rate. It doesn't assume compounding. I may have done the math wrong on there too, but if it's 35%, yeah, over a year. And it's 55,184. Like if I hold this the whole day, the debt's going to end up being like maybe like 15 or 20 bucks or something like that. But my yield will be so much higher. This is saying that it would be $53, which may be right. I mean, I did 35%, and technically Sol is at 35, but USDC is at 33.4. So it'd be slightly lower than that. Maybe it'd just be like 50 bucks. We'll have to see. Maybe it is. Let me see on my post that I made about this. Yeah, you can see here, I said I opened this 22 hours ago. So this is probably fairly accurate because you can see here 50 grand. I paid about $37 in debt, but I earned $710 in yield, right? And so that was for 22 hours worth. I ended up closing it out at right around 750. I think it might have been 760 on the day. And then my debt was like 40 bucks roughly. And so, yeah, I think that's like fairly accurate. You can estimate it doing it that way just by multiplying it by the year and then dividing it. It's not going to be great, but if you're trying to just get a rough estimate, that is a way to do that. So, all right, let's check in on a couple coins. If my entry in DeFi Tuna was 193 and it's currently 190.5, so the price of Sol has gone down. Is there any way to preview impermanent loss or what you receive back before you close the position? There's no way to like fully know what it's going to be without actually trying to, but yeah, you can preview it technically. You can close this and then you can click confirm, but then when it actually pulls up your transaction, your wallet over here, as long as you don't have like auto stuff on, you can see it'll tell you what it's going to send back. So here, 115 Sol, 115.42 Sol, and then you can confirm it. Now it's 115.39 Sol. So it'll update and 115.4 Sol times Sol's at 190.38 roughly. 21,969, and you can see I'm at 21,933. Obviously, I did it slightly rough, but that's how much you'd get back. And so you could do it in, however you're going to receive it back, but that's how you can preview it. You borrow USD. So I'm borrowing Sol and USDC in this pool on here. Let me see here. I don't think I have anything running. So Butthole's a coin that I'm looking at. Stupid name. Volume is not great. ARC's dipped down a little bit after it had a little bit of a pump here. Volume's actually really good on the 5 minute. I don't know if that's just because of this. Let me go to the 1 minute chart and see here. This is the 5 minute, 1 minute. Both are showing it down, but it looks like it might be breaking back upward a little bit. So we'll have to see there. Swarm's also doing decent volume, nothing crazy. There's a lot of these AI coins like this that are like just doing really solid. They're not going to do any sort of crazy volume, but DLMMing them, you'll be able to earn between like 5 and 15% a day. And then of course, something like Fart Coin's going to earn literally like 1 to 3% a day, maybe really high volume. You might get up to 5%, but it's something that's going to stay really, really consistent to look at. SNI is another one that I really like right now. That's been doing pretty well. That's the 5 minute chart. It's showing still going up there. Let's see if the 1 minute is showing any sort of reversal. Oh, that's the 5 minute. But yeah, SNI is a good one. Another one strategy that I really like to do is I like to find coins that have pumped a lot recently and then set up like a one-sided pool that would then catch the fall back down. It's something that is like much more risk adverse and allows you to catch a lot of fees as they come back down. And then usually they'll come back up at some point as well if they're like a really popular solid coin. So yeah, I'm curious if ARC continues. If it does, then I might get back into it. So we're going to keep watching this. Check AR16Z. I mean, I'm pretty sure this is one we looked at earlier. We don't like it. It seems like, yeah, and it's still not great. We thought it wasn't good whenever it first pumped, and continually don't think it's good. There's no Twitter for it. There's not a lot of good information about it, so it seems like it's not great. Does closing the position also claim the fee, or is that a separate transaction required? That's a great question, because whenever that's probably why I think it does. So you can claim it here manually. It'll show you how much Solana and USDC you're going to get just by mousing over claim. But then when you close it, it gives you both, which makes sense that I was showing like 21,950 instead of 21,933 whenever I tried to close it out earlier, because it was adding in the yield that I was getting as well. And you can see I have a slightly tight range here between 186 and 198, kind of expecting it to have gone up more. Now that I look at it, I think SOL might kind of stay where it's at, maybe dip down a little bit before coming back up. We'll have to see. More on the 5-minute chart, you can see. Oh, I accidentally got rid of the MACD indicator here. The MACD indicator is oops, I accidentally just flipped them. How do I fix that? I didn't know I could adjust it quite like that. That's kind of crazy. That's all jacked up. I'm going to refresh that. Up to over 500 people watching. Thank you all so much for being here today. I am going to have my stream end a little bit short today. And the reason why is, let me just delete that and then we'll fix this. Man, I jacked up my my Jupiter because I removed the stuff on the side, I guess, as well. I don't know, like, I don't use Jupiter often. I'm not someone who's like super into knowing all the different like ways to manage and adjust charts and stuff like that. I use pretty simple stuff to do it. Oh, it flipped to the other side. Here it is. All right, there we go. But yeah, you can see with the MACD that it's showing that SOL is probably going to break back down some. So we'll keep watching. We need to earn at least $33 on the SOL USDC pool, which obviously I think we'll be able to do easily. We're already up to $18 in yield, and we opened this like 30 minutes ago maybe. And so doing really, really well. And we've only paid $1 in debt. And so like if I just divide this 1.08 cents divided by the total amount of yield, which is 18.52, you can see our debt is only at 5.8%. So I think as long as your debt is 10% or less of your total amount, then that's, 10% or less of your yield. If your debt is, as far as how much, then you're doing pretty good. Even if it's a little bit more, 15 or 20%, you can get away with it because you're increasing your yield. Like in this instance, we're doing 3.5x leverage. So we're increasing our yield by 3.5x of what we would if we just had this set up on like Meteora or Orca or something. And so if the debt ends up going up a little bit, like that's okay. But you do want to watch and manage your debt to your yield whenever you're using DeFi Tuna. Miku, any thoughts? Let's take a look at Miku. Best way to avoid impermanent loss. Set a stop loss and a take profit at the ends of your ranges. I don't know if this is the Miku you're talking about. That's fake looking. You'd have to give me the CA, Global Health Fleet. Not that Miku. Yeah, I figured. Is this the Miku that's been around for like ever? There's been like multiple Mikus. I think I tweeted about a Miku, this Miku like forever ago, and was like, it was running really hard, but then I was like, this thing could go to zero. I'm pretty wow, it's picked up a little bit there, but definitely don't think that's a good long-term hold. Yeah, so I'm probably going to end up having to end my stream early today. Are there any questions y'all have about anything specific with DLMMs? My wife's going to need my help with my son. He's a little wild today, so I'm going to end up going and doing that shortly. Obviously, like I've showed y'all some of the stuff on DeFi Tuna. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with DeFi Tuna was just looking at the lending, looking at the borrow rates and stuff, right? Because like it's important to manage that. You want to try to set up your pools based on the utilization and borrow rates, and also based on kind of what you're able to earn here. And so sometimes I might do Sol ETH, I might use Sol USDC. Sometimes I might move it to Sol JLP or to Jupe Sol or to Sol USDT. And so I might move it around. Obviously, like you don't want to move it too often because of the fees that it costs to be able to put in. But I have been doing these overnight and they've been really, really, really good for me. And so, yeah, just, just consider that whenever you're looking at making your pools, and take into consideration all the different factors here. As far as Meteora, there's a lot that's been really good. Honestly, like there's a lot of these coins that are just super, super solid right now. Swarms and Arc and Sni, like all of these are really, really good. I might get into Sni again and run it for a little while, or I might get into some Fartcoin and run that as well. Another thing is that Project X is run by Doge Capital. And so this, I'm earning, it ranges right now. It says 280% APR, but it went up as high as like 400% APR. And so this isn't like a concentrated liquidity pool. This is just a straight up pool that you put into. And so you can see I have $16,600 in this. And this is a token that's that represents the protocol, which is Project X, which I posted about on Twitter. And Project X is they're a platform that's going to be creating AI agents. You'll be able to create your own AI agents. And so, but they're launching their first AI agent that they're putting out tomorrow on the platform. And so, let me see. Let me find it. Oops. So this is their Twitter here. They put out a post. Here it is. Yeah, xcombinator.ai. Yeah. So this is the website that their platform will be on, where the AI agent's going to be and everything. As it pulls up, it's the xcombinator.ai. And so Doge Capital is the team that did this. Doge Capital's been around. They're a dev team, dev studio that have done work for a long time, done really good work. They're OGs. They have an NFT and stuff as well. But Project X is like the original coin, right? So when you think about AI agents and stuff being launched, like I think I'm going to be investing in the first AI agent, which is tomorrow, which is going to be the IM.AI, whatever it is, the AM, right? This is going to be their first one. I'm the screen between the code, therefore I am. And so this will be the first one that I'll be looking at, the first AI agent that I'll be investing in tomorrow. They're doing their launch. You can see all their information here. But I think that the Project X token is going to do really well, right? Because like even though the AI agent might do really well, I think that the Project X token is kind of the original one, the platform one, right? All the like part of the fees and stuff from the launch tomorrow will actually be rolled into here. I think they tweeted about something about this. Oh yeah, here you go. So monetization and X price appreciation. So the X price, that's this, the Project X price. X Combinator earns fees from token launches on the platform, including trading fees from Meteor's permanently locked liquidity pool. And so when they launch on their site on Project X Combinator tomorrow, they're using the permanent liquidity pool locking of Meteora. And so this is a pretty hyped launch, this AI token launch that's happening tomorrow. And so all the fees that are earning, including trading fees, X Combinator, the X token, which is this one here, will be earning from that as well. 50% of all the revenue is used to buy back the X token. So all revenue they generate from all AI agents will be used to back the X token, which are permanently locked, reducing circulating supply and increasing liquidity. And so I honestly think that this could do really, really, really well. If their AI agent launch tomorrow does super well, then obviously this will end up going up in price also, because 50% of the revenue that they get will be to buy back the X token, which is permanently locked away. And so you can read more about this and how that happens. Launchpad projects add value rather than diluting it, all that kind of good stuff. So X operates like a traditional token with growing liquidity and decreasing supply. Holders benefit from potential appreciation, pre-sale opportunities, and the overall growth of the ecosystem. And so, yeah, so this is obviously really, really big. I think this will do well. So that's something to look at also. And so it's good, kind of the thing that I'm trying to push for 2025 is to have multiple streams of revenue, go where the money is, right? And so there's times where I'll buy a coin and just hold it because I think it's going to do well. There's times where I'll put into some sort of APR pool like this one here, even though this APR isn't crazy high. This is less than 1% a day, but still it's decent. And I want to hold the token because I think the token's going to go up long term. And so in that regard, like it makes sense to be in this to me. And so, you know, I'm in this. I saw DeFi Tuna. I started looking into it and was like, wow, the returns on this are amazing. So I started talking about this. Right. All that kind of good stuff. Also, I forgot one other thing before I get off that I wanted to talk about that's been really, really useful. How can we join the launch? Just buy on Jupiter. You go to DAOs.fun. To be a part of the AI launch. Yeah, you'll have to buy the token. Check out their Twitter. You can see on their platform, they have a private and a public sale. I did get whitelisted for the private sale. So I'll be in that. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same price. It's just that I get to I'll be competing against less people. But the hard cap is 88 SOL. So there's not going to be a ton that people will be able to buy, but you can buy it here, or when it launches, if you don't get it here, then you can buy it on Jupiter. And the ticker is this AM ticker here, and they'll drop the CA and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure as well. Yeah, I do want to touch on the decoders bot as well. But yeah, so this is, I think, something that's going to be really, really solid. The team is really good. So I think, you know, you can see that there's a lot of high profile people like Jakey, Turn Up Dylan with DKS. Like a lot of these people are talking about it. So there's a lot of people that are excited, a lot of big names. And so I think it's going to end up doing really well. So AM is the ticker. It's launching tomorrow at 12 p.m. EST, which is 4 p.m. UTC or 11. 12 p.m. EST, which is 11 a.m. my time. And so I'll probably be streaming it. But this is something to look into. It could be a good play. Always do your own research. Obviously, I'm not giving financial advice. You need to look into this, make your own decision. If this absolutely does terrible, it's not my fault. Make your own choices. Obviously, you need to make your own choices. And so I just personally think that it's going to do well. Okay. So another thing is that let me set up a pool here. Oh yeah, how's Cerebro doing? That's another one. Let me look real quick. I want to set up a poll because I want to show y'all another thing that's really cool that hasn't. I'm not sure if there's just limited access right now or what that looks like. I think I'm going to get into SNI, so we'll just do this. We're going to buy some SNI. Okay, done. I love good morning, good night. Hey, also, if you haven't yet, use this link. Good morning, good night is amazing. You can set this up and do this yourself. I'm going to post the link in here. It's just really good for charting and stuff like that. But this is my referral link that I'm posting here. And so if you're going to use good morning, good night, and you're going to trade with it, use my referral link because I get a kickback from it. I'm saying to use it because I love using it. You can import your wallet, your DLMM wallet. And then, or if you just want to buy and sell off of it, you can, but you can import your DLMM wallet and then you can buy on here and then immediately go to Meteor and set up a pool here, which is really, really nice. What did I just do? Yes, that's what I'm looking at. But I'm posting the link so that if you haven't already, you can use that. You can use my referral, my link to be able to use good morning and good night. Good morning, good night. All right, so we're going to do the 80 bin step 8% pool on SNI. And I want to set this up because I want to show you all this tool. It's called Ultra LP. They had reached out to me to ask me to check it out. And I wanted to be able to talk about it on stream because I do think it's a really cool tool to use. Because often whenever people are in these pools, they don't know you don't know what your active profit or loss is. And so it's really nice to be able to see that live, right? I can assume what my profit and loss is by kind of looking at how much fees I've earned and stuff. And obviously you can go to Metlex afterwards and put it in here, put in your transaction and see what your profit and loss is here. But this is Ultra LP. And so earlier I had two different pools that were up, previous pairs that were up that did well. It'll show you those previous pairs and then it'll show you the active positions. And so obviously I just created this position. And so the profit and loss is going to bounce back and forth and be very low, but you can look at your active live profit and loss, which is really nice. This is app.ultralp. And so right now it's in beta. And so I think you have to sign up, but you can go to their website and sign up app.ultralp.com. Pretty sure this is it. And you can go to their site. And so basically you just connect your wallet to it and it'll actively watch all of your positions and tell you what they are at live, which is really, really nice, especially when you're doing one-sided pools, because the whole idea is that like you're earning fees as the price goes down. And sometimes it's hard to know if the fees you've earned have offset. And so this is really nice to be able to see when you want to get out or not. It'll show you the live active. Yeah, it would be cool to have a Chrome add-on. I agree, Saucy. But yeah, this is really cool. I have the live active thing. So I just wanted to mention this as well. It's a really cool tool. I've been using it a lot to be able to know. It looks like I'm up $24 now. And so as it goes up and down and I earn fees and the price of it moves and stuff, it'll actually show you your active profit and loss. And so you could just leave this up and then you could go do your stuff. And as you're working on it or whatever, you can check back in to see what it is. And then that way, you know, when you want to close it out, it'll show you total fees earned, what's claimed, unclaimed, withdrawals, deposits, all that kind of good stuff. It tracks it all really, really well. How safe is it? Great question. I do not know exactly how safe it is. I did do some initial checks on it and stuff like that, and it looked pretty good. Whenever you go to like sign something, like again, you're connecting your wallet, but whenever you connect it, you can look and see what permissions you're giving it, right? I get being skeptical for sure. But like you can look and see what permissions you're giving it. And whenever I sign the transaction, the permission I'm giving it is for it to look at my wallet, not to make anything. When you get rugged and you like, when people are like, oh, I got drained, it's because when they connected their wallet, they didn't look at what the information was, right? So like if you disconnect, now it may all just automatically connect me because I'm already connected. But it'll say that. So always check. A lot of times people click connect and they just click confirm here. And so like you don't want to just confirm. You want to look at this and see what it says. It'll also show like different information. It's not showing it now because I've already connected, but it'll tell you what different permissions and access you're giving it. And so always look at that whenever you're doing this, right? But do your own due diligence on it. But it's in beta right now, and you can go from there. It's how it's able to accurately detect all this by connecting. So, but anyway, this is really, really cool. And the last thing I'll talk about is Soul Decoder. And so Soul Decoder, they're a really, really good team. They remind me of Doge Capital in that they're a bunch of guys that have been around a while doing a bunch of dev stuff, always created good products. And so if you own 3 of their NFTs, I think right now you might be able to do 1. But if you own 3 of their NFTs, then you can access their bot, which you have to download. You'll have to import your wallet as well. There's a little bit of a process to go through. But currently I'm trying it out with a little bit of funds. And so I'm trying out a bunch of different strategies. Currently, the one that I've been enjoying the most is by having it to where anytime it's searching for a token, it's looking for one that's gone up in price. And then what it does is it sets a one-sided spot or one-sided bid ask. Right now I'm doing spot, but you can do either one of those. And basically I have a take profit 8%, stop loss at 15%. My market cap range is between 11 mil and 150 mil. Basically, I'm looking for stuff that's like mid cap range. I don't want to hit a bunch of low cap stuff because you can get burnt pretty easy. But also, if you go too high on the market cap, then the fees aren't as good. So I'm looking at things between 11 mil and 150 mil. And then I'm catching stuff as it comes up. And the reason why I'm catching it or looking for stuff that's pumped recently is because it's more likely to have a dip as well. And so you're catching something that's in a strong uptrend, but is going to most likely have a dip. And that's where we take advantage of that and put in the spot or the bid ask strategy. I try to, I don't have any of this stuff on. You can come back and look at this. These are all my settings right now, but I have it to automatically reduce stop loss, pay for bin creation. I enable it to where if I've taken profit, it won't go back into that same pool, at least for an hour. And stuff like that. I'm in step size wide, which is really important. And so that's kind of the general stuff, but I've been really enjoying using the bot. It's been doing really well. I am in profit right now on it. And so definitely something to look at if you're interested in having that. It's something that I kind of leave overnight, but I am testing it. You do have to be careful with it. Make sure you don't lose money. And there's a few different things as far as like setting up, your wallet and a bunch of different stuff and security things that you need to do as well. So if you're interested in that, take a look at that as well. I'm gonna leave up SNI. I really like SNI. I think it's going to do well in range within this area for a while. But I think overall it'll do well. And then of course we have our DeFi Tuna as well that we'll keep watching and see how it does as we watch the price of Solana move up and down from there. But you can see we've already earned $25, only paid $1.42 in fees. does look like Sol is dipping a little bit. So if it gets too close to here, we'll probably end up closing it out, especially if you've already earned a decent amount on the fees there. So cool. All right. Hey, that's going to be it. Yeah, you have to get waitlisted for the Ultra LP. So yeah, you'll need to check that. Joe Hitchkin says, unfortunately, Ultra LP still shows SOL fluctuations in the main P&L. I think that's important though to show the SOL fluctuations because that's part of it, right? If you put Solana into a pool where you may not have had Solana in it, maybe you would have had USDC or whatever, then the price of SOL fluctuating affects it. So I think that's more accurate personally. Maybe they could have something where you could turn it on or off for those that don't want to see that. But either way, it's really good. So DLMM Meteora, DeFi Tuna, we're looking at Project X and earning fees there as well. Believing this is going to do really well. Check out the launch, which is happening tomorrow, which I think is going to be pretty big. And then, of course, you can waitlist for Ultra LP if you want to be able to see your live stats and stuff for your DLMMs also. Remember, in 2025, daily compounding is really important. I've showed this to people before, but if you can earn 3% a day with $1,000 in 1 year, you would earn 48 million. Now, obviously, that's a crazy number because no one is going to be able to do that much, that accurate. But even $100,000 at 1% for 1 year, and you only do it on the weekdays, but you daily reinvest every single day, that $1,000 will be worth $13,000. And so the power of watch, if you go from 1,000 to 13,000, but now you do it every single day instead of just Monday through Friday. You can see the difference in this chart is pretty good. Yeah, so you can see the difference is now 37,000 instead of 13,000. So doing it every single day is way more important. And so instead of just doing it like Monday through Friday, so if you can do it every single day and daily reinvest, it makes a massive difference in what you're able to earn. The power of consistency and compounding is really, really powerful. So just remember that when looking at that. See the SOL user comp strategy, talk about crazy numbers, but no way it could be achieved when it like indicated from two. You definitely be tempted to stop. Yeah, it's hard to consistently do it, but that's where finding ways to consistently do it's important. It's also where like if I can earn 9 or 10% or 8% on a pool like this and do this for the day, and then average roughly 2 to 3% out of all of my different tokens and all the different strategies that I'm doing. That's my goal. My goal is to try to get 2 to 3% a day, every single day, even on weekends. I do multiple strategies to try to achieve that, whether that's on DLMMing here or on DeFi Tuna or wherever. And so that's my goal. I'm going to keep providing updated information for all of my followers on Twitter and inside of my Discord to be able to try to find the best strategies and best ways to be able to make money. And then Amir, the LL and UL is basically the stop loss take profit. It's the lower limit and upper limit. And so essentially it's right here. You set that. I set it at my range ends. So that way, if it hits my range ends, it'll automatically close out the pool. That way I don't get liquidated if it ends up going too high or too low. So that's what that's for. But yeah, we're going to keep providing information. We're going to keep being here trying to update y'all on stuff. I want to try to make as much money as I can. I want you all to be able to make as much as you can. I'm trying to help provide the best education information for that. I'll be live streaming again tomorrow, same time, 4 p.m. UTC, 11 a.m. EST. And I'm excited for the new year and everything that we're going to be able to achieve together. So I hope y'all can come check me out more. If you haven't already, you can go check out the Discord as well. It's in my Twitter profile, my Twitter bio. And so I am going to hop off now, but I hope y'all have a great new year and have a great day.